All right, welcome back to It's Time Picks. We've got UFC 293 Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. And overall, as far as a title card goes, it's kind of a shitty card. All of it. Main
hmm
card shit. Prelims are shit. There's nothing special about this card. Even the main event is questionable
Yeah.
on its own. Strickland and Izzy. But here we are. It's fights. I'm excited for them regardless, and we're here to break them down. So, Joey, unless you got anything, we'll jump right into it.
Let's jump on it.
All righty. First up, we have Kevin Jusset or something along those
Giuseppe
lines
and Giuseppe, one of them.
against Kiefer Crosby. Both guys are making their debuts in the UFC. You could kind of liken this fight to a contender fight or even maybe a Bellator fight, but here we are. There's not a whole lot of statistical data on these guys, and the video is also kind of hard to find. So it's really, in my opinion, just a pure GPP fight. The way that I looked at it and broke it down is I've got Jusset is more likely to win a decision. He's a little more technical and precise, also slightly more defensive, whereas Crosby is definitely the more dangerous of the two. He's more likely to finish this fight, and he's also the guy that I'm going with for that reason.
I don't hate that. And the funny thing, how you mentioned Bellator, Crosby actually fought in Bellator for a little bit. He had a 4-3
No,
record. So, as soon as you said Bellator, that's why I was trying to hold my laugh in. I was like, this mother. But how you pretty much broke it down, pretty much how I got it is if anyone is to get the finish, I think it could be Crosby, but I know that Kevin is more of a good striker, but patient, precise striker. But he also has some judo. Not the best, it's a little bit all right, but he can also maybe control the pace. So we'll see. The preferred play to me is going to be Crosby, but my slight lean pick is Jazit or Juzit, whatever the hell his last name is. To me, like I said, this is a Crosby or pass personally for
yeah,
any
I
type of
don't
drafting.
see. I mean, if Jusset wins, I don't see him scoring high in DFS because he doesn't do much special.
Not a lot of volume. Even if he does get a finish, let's say if it's like late round, if it's late round one, he's still going to score 90, so it's decent. Let's say if he goes round two or round three, he's not much of a volume person. He might get a takedown here and there, but he's still probably not going to score. He might give you what your average is. He's 8,400. You might get around low 80s. So, yes, decent. You get your average, but
Yep. Well, just like that, first fight of the night, we are split. I'm going with Crosby. You've got Jusset. Fight number two, we've got Shane Young against Gabriel Miranda. And if you're like me, you know what? We'll hear what you got to say first. Who are you going with?
so two different styles, a clash of styles. Shane Young is a striker. He has decent volume, decent power. Miranda, he's going back down to his natural 145. He took his debut at 55 versus Saint Denis, which he showed decent moments, but I'm not going to discourage that loss. Saint Denis, Saint Denis is a beast by every matter of a fact. Um, how I'm actually going to say this, I think Miranda gets him down early submission. Like Shane Young, he doesn't. To me, this is a dog or pass though, but my pick is Miranda. He's actually one of the more confident dogs I really like because when no one's aggressive with Shane Young will play the bouncing game, be precise, pick his strikes on the outside. Miranda, no. Miranda's going to try to go in, throw him against the cage, get a trip type of takedown, and once he's on his back, something called levels. Miranda is levels higher than Shane Young and type of grappling, and I can see Miranda getting a round one sub. One of my favorite dogs of the night.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I believe the odds in this fight should be flipped.
Oh, I
I
agree with
have
that.
Miranda. I don't. I was very shocked to see that Shane Young was the favorite, especially after dropping three fights in a row in the UFC. Two of them you could argue are decent. The other one
Mm.
is not decent at all. He has not really looked all that impressive. He does have volume. He could knock Miranda out. There's no doubt about it. Miranda has been knocked out twice, once back in 2016, and obviously his last fight against Saint Denis, which I'm not going to,
No.
yeah. But yeah, I'm on Miranda. I think Miranda is going to do exactly what you said. I think he takes this down to the mat and he does get a submission in the first or second round. So
Yes, sir.
both of us going with Brazil's Gabriel Miranda. Next up, we have Mike Mathifa, Blood Diamond, against the debuting Charlie Radke. I would assume I know where you're at, but where's your head at?
This fight actually reminds me of something I would watch on Ultimate Fighter. Two guys that, to me, I don't think are UFC quality necessarily. Raki does have the more fighting experience, but Raki throws wild. He has decent punches. The crazy thing is, he doesn't even got the best takedowns. He's somebody that's gonna try to clinch you, and if he can't big brother you, he's gonna wait for you to either try to get close to him so he can drop guard, or if he does get lucky with one of his big brother takedowns, and different story. But if Rocky doesn't get this fight to the ground, I think Blood Diamond is gonna absolutely piece him the hell up. But how old is Blood Diamond? Like 35, 36? He looks 40. The only reason why he's in the UFC is because of Izzy, because he's one of his training partners. Um, I want to say Raki wins this fight, but like I said, this is more of an Ultimate Fighter Contender Series fight, and I still think the odds as a whole are too high because you really don't know too much about Raki. He really hasn't really shown too much impression, but only thing I'll say is if he does get Blood Diamond on his back or flat, he is the better jiu-jitsu practitioner, and he could get a sub. If he does get a sub, I'm going more towards like a rear naked. If not, people not know what rear naked is. You're on the back, wrap it up, go to sleep. So yeah, I'll actually like Raki to win. I don't know when, but if at any point he gets Blood Diamond flat, he's gonna submit him.
I think you're out of your mind when you said Blood Diamond could piece him the hell up. I have no
He
confidence in
could.
Blood Diamond.
He's the better striker. If you
He
told me
couldn't.
15 minutes,
He in 15 minutes he couldn't do anything against Orion Koshi, who fucking sucks
Ryan
too.
Josie sucks.
Exactly, and he lost to him. Thank you.
No
So
wonder why Josie's not even in the UFC no more.
exactly. So I have zero faith in Blood Diamond to do anything,
He has a puncher's
and
chance. That's all I'll say. Puncher's
fully
chance.
expect Radke to end this fight in the first or second round by knockout or submission. Either one.
You just got to see when it comes to salaries. If you don't like some of the, you shouldn't like some of the higher pay ups. That's up to you though. But you could get the Racky and some other lines depending what other dogs you like. But he's not. He's definitely your GPP play.
I've got him in cash.
Oh, do you? No shit.
Easy.
I've seen a lot of
Easy.
people still have him like for GPP. He's not really owned.
I don't have any faith in Blood Diamond. He has not showed me anything. And Radke has faced UFC fighters in other circuits, promotions, and he was supposed to grapple with your boy Joe
My boy
Pfeiffer.
Joe Pfeiffer.
It was canceled. So
Yep.
I mean, it shows you that Radke is definitely
More
ready for this fight. So I'm not worried about it. I like Radke cash and GPP. I fully expect him to dominate this fight.
Okay, how much does he score though? If you had to
Uh,
project, about like what? Maybe
I
like
think
mid
I think he goes over
nineties.
100.
Yeah,
I think he's over 100.
like I said, my boy Andalusa would be.
So both of us going with the debuting Charlie Radke. Next up, we have Nazareth Hackprast and Landon Quinones. I've got Hackprast, but this is a fight I don't want any piece of unless I was making multi entries in those big tournaments. I would go with Quinones because he is the more dangerous fighter. That said, he hasn't really fought anybody. Hackprast has fought just about everybody, and he is a very defensive, very precise striker. And I don't see Quinones having any success getting this to the mat. I think it's going to be a really boring decision that we're used to seeing from Hackprast.
So I'll make it quick. I damn near said I was gonna say what you said. I'm on Haskarask, and the only real UFC name that Landon Quinones fought was Jason Knight on Ultimate Fighter. But apparently he was so called battling injury, so I don't know. But
When he
he was
lost
supposed
that
to get
fight in a minute.
Oh yeah, Jason Knight just marched him down, took him. But from what I heard, Landon was supposed to get not Ultimate Fighter, a Contender Series fight. But he got the call. He took it for Haskarask. But don't play anything with Haskarask. Don't do it. He's one of the more easy fade fighters you can get to. Don't do it. If you think that Quinones can maybe get to his wrestling because he is a good wrestler. Okay, maybe a little dart throw in 150s, but just fade this fight.
Yeah, he's the most expensive fighter, I believe, on the card, or second
Second,
most. And it's you'd have to get a first round knockout to pay that off. So, which I mean, it could happen. He does have power. It's been a long time since we've seen it. So both of us going with Nazareth Heck Press. Next up, we have Jamie Malarkey and John Makdessi. Makdessi most recently lost to Heck Press, and Malarkey most recently lost to a debuting fighter. I can't remember his name.
and
Uh,
Malarkey was dominating
Name
that
off.
fight until he
He
wasn't.
was exactly. He was dominating that fight until he wasn't. So it's kind of unfortunate. Joey, where's your head on this one?
Uh, Usually, when it comes to these type of fighters, even though McDessie's striking has looked good as of late, I usually don't tend going near fighters getting close to 40. That, that whole age thing, the slowing down thing does worry me. The crazy thing is Malarkey's very well rounded, but his IQ is terrible. But I'm going Malarkey. I'm not playing him in on anything, but I think this is going to be some close fights. I think Desi could stuff the first couple of few takedowns because he does have decent takedown defense, but I think Malarkey's going to make this a boring striking fight. Maybe mix in some clinch and control time. Don't play. I'm not playing Malarkey at all. I don't think he finishes McDessie one bit.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I do have Malarkey. I said pretty much the same thing. Makdessi's striking over the last few fights has looked relatively good. And basically, the way that I see this is if Malarkey's chin holds, he should win this fight. And if he is grappling, which I fully expect him to, I actually think that he's going to smash value. Um, but we'll see. So both of us going with Jamie Malarkey. Next up, we have the ever impressive Jack Jenkins against Jose or Chepe Mariscal.
Chippy.
I was against Chepe in his debut
I wasn't.
against Trevor Peak. And although that was an amazing fight, and both guys
Hell
looked
yeah.
incredible, Marisco's chin should have faltered at least 5 times in that fight. It didn't. I'm not quite sure how Jack Jenkins is going to put him to sleep, and I think that's the only way that he wins this fight. So I'm all over the dog. He's one of my favorite plays on the slate, and that chin is just literally made of iron. And Jenkins got some nasty kicks. So we talk about it every time he fights. He has some really powerful kicks. If he does land one on, he could knock him out. But I fully expect Marisco to just take over this fight.
High five. Boom. Because I also love Chippy in this fight. And you said, Jack Jenkins with the leg kicks. One thing about Chippy that I know of, one of his main training partners is Justin Gaethje. So you know for damn sure he's fucking playing that. Okay, I'm gonna check your kick bullshit. I'm gonna close my distance. And if you do that, Jenkins, he's more of a control kicker. You stop those kicks. What's he gonna do from range with punches? Yes, he has decent power in his hand, but I think Chippy could close the distance. He could get takedowns. Look, Jamal Emmers took him down. I thought Jamal won that fight, but Chepe is the more credential wrestler than Emmers. At least a higher college collegiate wrestler. He has good judo, good jiu-jitsu, which we haven't seen much of. And once he's on top, you're not getting back up off your ass. I love Chepe, and yeah, like I said, he's one of my other dogs I really like in this matchup too.
Uh, both of us going with Chepe Mariscal. Next up, we have an actually really interesting fight with Carlos Ulberg and Dao Young. And I'm actually really curious to see where you sided on this one.
So before I did my breakdown, I was really thinking Jung might be a live dog in this fight. He's a tough young kid. He has good boxing power. He showed William Knight that he can go for takedowns. He had, I believe, like 7 or 8, and he absolutely killed him. Carlos Ulberg, ever since losing his first fight to Kennedy Nchekwu, yeah, I got that right. I don't know how I did, but I got it right. Yeah, since that, he looked good. Now he's on a 3-fight knockout first round streak. And what made me watch and decide this pick very well, I watched Jung versus who's the kick? Dustin Jacoby. And I saw how easily Jacoby closed that range. And Jacoby's not more of a power guy, he's more of a volume, but he absolutely put Jung's lights out. And I'm like, oh shit. If Jacoby's doing it, To me, Olberg's probably one of the better strikers at his weight class right now. He's a dangerous striker. I think there's a really good chance Olberg finishes him again and makes it 4 first-round knockouts in a row.
That's fair. I also have Alberg. I also have Young as a completely live dog because both of these guys have good power. Both of them have good volume, and one of them is going to go down. Um, you can talk about Alberg's 3 consecutive first round knockouts, but you really shouldn't because it was against Nchukwi, Nagumuranu, and Eor Pateria. It's not really saying a whole lot. Um, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I've got Alberg. I do think he does some damage early, but I would not be surprised if Young turns this around and knocks him out at the same time.
So I do like Wong as a prospect.
So both of us going with Carlos Ulberg. Next up, we have Tyson Pedro against Anton Turkalai. And this is one of my favorite fights because I am all over Turkalai. I fully expect him to take Pedro down early and often, as he did against Vitor Petrino. I mean, he did lose that fight, but it was a really great back and forth. Petrino was relatively good at wrestling and grappling as well. Pedro's got a little bit of wrestling, but not enough to make this a fight. Pedro's best bet is going to be to knock him out early. Turkalai has already shown that he's got at least a little bit of a chin. And I mean, if you look at Pedro's last 4 fights, he got knocked out by Shogun. He beat an old and aging, now retired Ike Villanueva. He beat Harry the Hurricane Hunsucker, who is awful. And then he lost to Modestas Bukauskas, which you could argue that he won that fight. But I was on him as well. So I am all over Turkalai. He is one of my favorite plays. I think he's underpriced. I think he's going to be probably under. I could see him being pretty high
80,000 fight
in cash and GPP. But yeah, he's one of my favorite plays, and I'm all over.
I remember when I actually had people who watched this video after I said that Tyson Pedro was going to lose to Bukakis. They go, "You're stupid. Bukakis sucks. He sucks."
Pedro sucks too.
I told you, I've been saying Pedro's overrated, and I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to show it in his backyard, which sucks. Because he lost. I think he lost his last fight in the backyard too, so he might go 0-2 in his backyard. So, but through, like I said, GPPs, I think you do need this fight. Is there a chance Tyson could chin check him? Very possible. But I absolutely love Turkalai in this fight. I've been a fan of him since he was on the Contender Series, and he had 2 tough fights.
You've been a fan of him for 3 fights.
For 3 fights, I've been a fan of this kid, and he's impressed in all 3 for me, except for Almeida. But Almeida,
I was gonna say Almeida's just a complete.
No, I'm not counting that fight. Almeida, I was like, this dude's about to alligator to the shit out of him, and he did. But I think Turkalai's going to survive round 1, and then he's going to put on an absolute clinic. I think he's still putting clinic in round 1, but once you get Pedro out of round 1, he's like a bleeding animal in a big old ocean with sharks. Turkalai's going to get him.
Yep, I agree.
Look, even if he doesn't get a finish, I think there's a chance he can rack up between like 4 to 6 takedowns.
Well, if this goes to decision, I fully expect him to have at least 5 or more. Yeah, absolutely. Because he's got cardio, Pedro doesn't.
Yeah.
And currently, the odds are still a pick 'em.
I saw that Anton was like a -115 to Pedro -105.
I see them both at -110 in a few right now. But yeah, so it's a pick 'em fight. I shouldn't be. I think Turkalai should be a 2-1 favorite. Just my opinion.
Oh, before we go on, did you hear what somebody asked Turkalai during the press conference?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say it right now. It's nothing too crazy, but he's like, "So where'd you get your nickname, the Pleasure Man, from?" And he's like, "Dang, you asked me about my nickname, right?" He's like, "Okay." After Saturday night, ask Tyson what it means, and then if you still don't understand, ask your wife after my fight. I was like, "Oh shit!" But and Tyson answered, "Yeah, I really don't want no pleasurement inside of me." I'm like, "Oh, dude, no." But
all right, that's enough of that. Yeah. Both of us going with Anton Turkalai. We got Justin Tafa and Austin Lane up next. Who are you going with in this one? I will start off by saying this is the rematch First fight that
Yeah, I
they
know
had
the whole eye
was a
poke and
no contest from the eye poke. So
yeah. So there's not much to watch that fight, but if you're a degenerate like ourselves, if you really watch, Lane's movement was actually giving Tafa a little bit of issues. Lane was going in and out, hitting him, and then Tafa rushed himself in, walked into the finger, which then eventually ended the fight, unfortunately.
yep.
I think Lane checks him. I really do. Like, I don't know if he's gonna be early, but I think he's gonna work him with the leg kicks, body kicks, and then I think there's a chance late first round, early second, Lane catches him.
I think we should go back to the original picks because I had Lane and I still have Lane, but I'll allow it.
I didn't go Tafa last time, I don't think, because I said I was going Lane. I thought I
Pretty
went
sure.
Lane just
Oh, maybe we.
because.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
just
because I
pull it.
mainly thought I went Lane because this first fight was in his backyard in Florida.
Either way, yeah. Lane is also still another one of my favorite punts. I think the odds should be much closer in this one. Tough. I mean, yeah, he's got that power. He knocked out Parker Porter. He knocked out Harry Hunsucker. Not really saying a whole lot, but Austin Lane's a
Mm.
completely different animal. He's got a huge size advantage over him. He's got more power, and like you said, that movement was definitely getting to him. So both of us going with Austin Lane. Next up, we have Manel Starboy Cop against Felipe dos Santos. And I did go watch what I could of Felipe, and there's not really a whole lot out there. He is an impressive prospect. However, he hasn't
He's
really
shooting the
fought
box.
anybody near the level of Cop.
Mm.
I have Cop in this one. I would have liked to see Dos Santos get somebody else, not somebody that's ranked. But it is what it is. I fully expect Cop to have his way in this fight.
So originally, Felipe dos Anjos was supposed to fight in a contender series. I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, but then I think it was actually the night of the fight. They actually pulled that fight off the card and they announced, "Oh, Felipe dos Anjos is actually going to be a replacement." I was like, "Oh shit, okay." But he's one of them shoot the box Diego Lima guys. So, he's going to have that Vanderlei Silva type style coming forward, being a brawler, can mix it in, takedowns. But yeah, I don't like this matchup. I wanted to find a way to fade Cop because to me, he showed a lot of improvement against Dave Dvorak. I was like, man, I think Cop's boring. His IQ sucks. Then he kind of shut me up a little bit because he damn near ripped off Dvorak's arm. And yeah, I'm picking Cop in this fight. Just when this kid does look tough, maybe Cop get a second, third round finish. Unless this kid just comes out like a complete jackass and he just chin up, then Cop just catches him. But I see Cop win this fight with no problem.
Yep, definitely. So both of us going with Manel Cop. Next up, we have Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa against Alexander Volkov. And who do you like in this one?
I kind of wish the UFC would have Tuivasa a favor because he's in his backyard. Give somebody that's like outside the top 10. I think there's a good chance Volkanovski is going to take a little bit of a game plan of what
Volkanovski.
God did. Who the hell I said? I said Volkov. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Hey, man. He was a former rugby player. He was a big dude. But I think Volkov is going to end up doing the same similar game plan of what God did. And then if you realize the last few fights for Volkov, he's added more muscle. His frame looks pretty good. And now look at it. The last 2 fights, getting 2 first-round knockouts in a row. So I actually like Volkov a lot in this fight. I think there's a good chance under 1.5, someone's going to drop. And, Ty, he actually saw an interview and he said, so once you got hit by Pavlovic, what did you realize? He's like, once I took that first hit, I knew I was fucked. So, yeah, I think not Vulcan, Jesus, I can't even talk right. Volkov's going to end up catching him early. Maybe with a body kick and then TKO punch him. I don't like how his chin, he always leaves his chin up for exciting. Like I said, the last 2 fights, it's been biting him. But yeah, I think it's another loss for Ty. And then he's going to end up fighting guys from like 12 to outside top 15. They need it. He's not even an old fighter. That's the bad part. You can still build him up to it. Almost like how they did for Derek Lewis to an extent. Give him those type of brawling stalling fights. But that's just ridiculous. I wish they would have given him an easy fight, but I got Volkov.
Yep, I have Volkov for a number of reasons. He's bigger, he's faster, he's probably got more power. I don't think we're going to see any shoeies after this fight.
Nah.
I fully expect Volkov to just win this outright sometime, probably in the first round, early
Yep.
second. So both of us going with Alexander Volkov. Next up, we have the main event with Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland. I will still say that I love Strickland as a GPP play. He
Mm-hmm.
has the style to really cause issues as if he can basically stay out of his own head and implements a game plan that's suitable to face Izzy. He definitely is able to do that. Are we going to see it? Who knows? I am going to take Adesanya because I expect him just to do his boring, normal, rangy crap. He'll just keep Strickland away and he'll just throw strikes right down the middle. I don't see a high score coming out of this fight unless it's Strickland winning. So it's Strickland GPP, Adesanya. I mean, it's kind of up to you if you want him because he could knock Strickland out. I just don't expect him to. I fully expect it to be a low scoring affair.
I agree with everything you said. And if I knew Strickland was coming in with his wrestling shoes and he is a BJJ black belt, I wish he would use it more. But he clearly don't see it a lot because he fell in love with his striking, which has very improved since he got into the UFC. So yeah, I'm on Adesanya. And I'll say this right now, there's no way in a chance of prayer hell I'm paying for no 9,700 fighter. No. He barely paid off his price tag against the rematch when he won by
Right.
KO. But yeah, I'm not. No.
All right. Well, both of us going with Israel Adesanya, and that wraps that portion of it up. If I was going to pick a dog that I like the most, there's quite a few, but I am going to stick with. Actually, I'm going to go with Austin Lane because I do think that he knocks Toffa out early. I absolutely love that pick. Um, yeah, I would assume you going to go with Chepe then.
No, I'm actually going Miranda.
Oh yeah, I'm good with that one too. I like all
Dude,
three.
I honestly do think like people are just like, oh, but he couldn't take down Saint Denis. Well, not a lot of people are taking down Saint Denis. You kidding me?
Yeah, he's
And he took that fight
murdering
on
everybody.
short notice, up a weight class.
Yeah, so
And now he's back in
says
his
says a
natural
lot.
weight class. And when he wins, 15 of his 16 wins are by submission. And if he
Yep.
gets you to the ground, like I said earlier during the show, there's something called levels. And I think he can submit anybody if he gets him on the flat in the back. And I'm
Yeah.
expecting I'm not gonna expect no 60-second bonus type of win for him, but either way, he's a damn dog. He wins in round one, gets his finish, he's paying that tag off and easily kicks moving.
Yep. Um, and I'm gonna lock in Volkov as my lock because I really like that play this week as well.
Oh, that's gonna be mine too.
I mean, I could switch it to Turkalak
No,
as one of the two.
because I had two other ones too. So I had my main three were book off, and you know what? I'm also gonna say Turkoli. And like I said, I think takedowns, control. Like I said, Tyson's a dead fish after round one. Who would have been your second one if I said Turkoli? Because I know
Well,
my other one. I had three.
it's either gonna be Volkov or Turkalak.
For your third option,
I
if we took turns, since you took Volkov, I took Turkoli. Who would have been your third one?
Radke.
Racky. Okay. Mine probably would have been either Racky or probably Olberg.
That's fair. So that it should be a decent card. It's not overly exciting. I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm looking far more forward to next week's card, which is the rematch of
Grasso.
Grasso and Shevchenko. We also get Kevin Holland. He's going to get knocked out by Jack Della.
Oh, that's
Badalina.
the fight.
Yep, can't wait for that one. We also got Raul Rosas back on that card. He's going against Terrence Mitchell.
Let's go, Terrence.
There's some good fights on this card. I think this card next week's card is way better than this one. It's a fight night card, so make sense.
Yeah.
Um, we got they put Tracy Cortez on the prelims, which I think is kind of disrespectful. But
Versus who?
your girl Jasmine, just so vicious.
Oh, why you gotta do that to
Cortez
me?
is gonna smack her.
Why you gotta do that to me though, bro? I love watching both of those girls.
But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to next week's card. We got to get to that first. But yeah, that wraps up this unless you got anything else.
No.
All right. Well, as always, thanks for watching, and we will catch you next week.